Let's take a quick look at the B48. The B48 is a combo machine. It's going to combine both the overlock stitching, 4-thread, 3-thread, 2-thread, as well as the chain stitch, and you can even put the stitches together where you can create combo stitches, where you can do the chain stitch along with an overlock stitch. So this machine takes all of those stitches and it brings it into one machine. So all of the features that we have are going to be very similar to the other B4 machines by having the differential feed. Here you have your width, your cutting width adjustment to the stitch. You're going to have length adjustment, and as you can see, there are now 5 threads that are on our machine. This gives us the ability to sew with a 4-thread overlock stitch or that combination stitch that we looked at. All of your tools are going to be stored right here, again, on the front of your machine. You have a very easy color-coded threading path that's also on the machine. And one thing that I really love about this machine is that when I'm going to move between the cover stitch or overlock stitching, I don't ever have to rethread my needles. So when we get to making that little move, I'll show you exactly how easy that is. Right now we're set for a 4-thread overlock stitch. We do have the built-in rolled hem on the machine as well. You're also going to find that you have a feature that when we adjust our cutting width, you're going to also find that it adjusts the cutting of the stitch, of the fabric, I should say. Presser foot adjustment, presser foot pressure adjustment is also available on this machine. So you can see that you get a lot of different stitches in one compact machine. So as I stitch a 4-thread overlock stitch, I'm just going to simply stitch this little neckline on for you. Fold your fabric, and we're just going to do one side of that neckline. We have a 4-thread overlock stitch, which is typically the stitch you would use for stitching on necklines or seams, because again, it gives you that extra line of stitching. Just stretch that neckline right around the edge. And I like to trim a little bit off as I'm stitching, because then I know I'm catching all of those layers. Now you have a nice flexible edge of a seam. You have your neckline all stitched in place. And then when I would be ready to move over to another overlock stitch, if I'm going to be doing the rolled hem, again, which is built in, just simply slide that stitch former back, cut your left needle thread. You're also going to have little viewing windows that you can see where your needles are positioned so that they are in the proper position when you're going to be inserting your needles. Now when I stitch the rolled hem, all I need to do is pull that lever back, and I am going to shorten my stitch length. Increase the tension or control that's on the lower looper. Stitch, close up the door, because when you're sewing, if you leave that door open and you step on your foot pedal, nothing is going to happen. So that's also a great safety feature. Close up the door. We have it set for rolled hem. And isn't that a beautiful rolled hem? Rolls the edge of that fabric completely over and finishes the edge all in one easy step. Now, if I'm going to be moving then over to and adding, let's say we're going to do a combo stitch. We want to have an overlock stitch and we want to have that chain stitch all at the same time. So I am going to use a 3-thread overlock stitch, and I'm going to be placing my needle into the cover stitch position. And remember, I wasn't using that left needle when I was stitching for, let me grab my needle holder here, this will make it much easier. You have the needle holder and needle threader. So simply use this little needle holder in position. Loosen the screw for your cover stitch. All right, so you'll see that that needle is in toward the front of the machine because we're working with 2 different positions of needles and 2 different kinds of stitches. So now I'm simply going to use and pull the thread for the needle, leaving it threaded from where it was for overlock stitching. Just grab onto that thread, pull it down right to the cover stitch needle. I love the fact that I don't have to move the threading path when I'm going from cover stitching to overlock stitching. Okay, and I also have my chain looper in place and threaded. And I'm going to take a strip of fabric and sew that seam. Let me lengthen my stitch just a little bit after I rolled hem. Okay, so see how easy that was to go from a rolled hem to a combo stitch. This is just the same type of stitch that you see on ready-made garments. So it makes it very easy to move from one stitch to another, or you can have 2 separate machines. It depends on how much space you have and the convenience that you want between and moving between the different kinds of stitches. So the B48 machine is a combo machine. It has both cover stitching, overlock stitching, rolled hem, and all the stitches that you're going to need for perfect garment sewing.